Hey, MNYBA churches and partners. This is George Russ, Director of Missions for MNYBA, and I wanted to give you just a quick update about what's happening here in our association. You know, with all of the changes with the pandemic, the opening up of the city, every single day it seems like people are asking, how is it for you? What's going on in New York? How are your churches? Well, recently we were able to conduct a brief 6-question survey of our churches. And we asked questions about their attendance, their finances, and just how their congregations are doing. We've received 57 responses to date, and I just wanted to summarize in 3 different ways what our churches are saying about the impact of COVID-19 on their church. The first is this: many of our churches report how they have grown in prayer. One of our churches, I want to read their response, says this: "We became a prayerful church." Just like Jesus said the purpose of his church is to be a house of prayer, our congregations are finding new ways to engage in prayer online with conference calls. Some churches actually report that they are praying 3 times a day, early in the morning, midday, and late at night by conference call. So churches growing in prayer. A second response we are seeing come through these surveys is how the congregations are growing in unity, growing in ministry, and growing in purity. Here's what one church said: "Our core is stable and consistent. We are rooting downward and bearing fruit upward." I love that. I love to see that coming through in our congregations, the growth of the church, even during the time of the pandemic. And then a final result I would share with you is our churches have actually, some of them have actually grown during this time. We've found churches that because they have services, but other churches are closed, people are coming back to their congregation. So listen to this one about growth. "We have continued to see people come to Christ and have over 35 baptisms during COVID." What an incredible record. And here's another one. It says, "We have seen lives saved and people discipled on the street." I think that this is one of our congregations that were actually involved in street ministry during COVID. And then here's another one too. It says, "We have seen 2 baptisms and an 80-year-old man make a profession of faith." That's amazing. So if you're wondering what's going on in MNYBA and in our churches, these are some of the things that are happening that we're discovering. We're going to put the link to our survey on the screen. If you still have not filled out your survey, it takes just a few seconds. We would love to hear from you about that. And let me close with a scripture verse that has meant a lot to us, where God says to the prophet Isaiah, or to his people through the prophet Isaiah, "I will pour water on the thirsty land and streams on the dry ground. I will pour out my spirit on your offspring and my blessing on your descendants. They shall spring up among the grass like willows flowing by the streams." What a great promise. Thank you so much for praying with us. Stay in touch with us. We'll come back again in a few days with the results of another question we asked: how can MNYBA be a better association for you? I'm George Russ. Thank you for listening. We'll look to see you soon.